Thursday on Thursday this week. My name's Tom Levine. I'm Cornerstone's tech guru, and today we're going to talk a little bit about PDFs, what makes them so powerful, when you want to use them, how to make them a little bit more useful, how to turn them into fillable forms, how to save them and interact with them, and afterward we'll have a brief Q&A session as well. Just a few things to cover before we really get into everything. First is questions. Feel free to always type into that question box and go ahead and ask anything you'd like. I will be circling back through to that question box multiple times throughout this presentation. So if you have a question, please feel free to type it in there, and I promise I'll get around to answering it for you. Next, I'd like to cover Autopilot. Autopilot is a compensation-based client referral program, and it offers up the services of our licensed representatives to help out any of the clients that you might have that fall out of the scope of your business, but in a way that they're never off your radar. Under this program, you would work with our licensed representatives to give your clients the assurance that they'll continue to receive the benefits of your marketable expertise and your wonderful knowledge of insurance, while also allowing us to help you keep them on as clients and expand the scope of their coverage. So if you have any questions about Autopilot, please feel free to reach out to us at 513-629-9358. Additionally, we have our new Cornerstone Resource Center up and running. The Resource Center is a document search center. It allows you to view all the webinars. It gives you access to print-ready and customizable marketing materials, and it also gives you access to all the Cornerstone white papers. You can get there by going out to our website, www.crnstone.com, and then clicking on the Resource Center link, and everything should be available under there. Lastly, we have a 2021 incentive program going on. Our top broker who signs up will receive a $5,000 prize, and we'll be giving out a total of 20 cash prize earnings to the top 20 qualifiers. There's also going to be one lucky qualifier who wins a weekend getaway to a destination of their choice, and the point earning period for that is January 1st of this year through December 31st of this year. To participate, you have to sign up at that website displayed on my screen. That's www.crnstone.com/2021-incentive. For more information, please feel free to go on there or ask when you call in. But that's all I really wanted to cover as far as bookkeeping. Today we're going to be covering PDFs, and for that I'm going to actually have us start in Word. There are a lot of different reasons to use PDFs. PDFs are actually a type of file, and the PDF stands for Portable Document Format. They were created by Adobe in 1990, and it basically stores documents as partial or full images, and it prevents people from editing documents once they're in their finalized formats. For instance, if I were using this sample document, which you should have all available to you as well underneath the handouts, if you click on handouts and then click on the Word document there, that will give you access to a copy of what's displayed right here on the screen. So if you want to follow along while we move this into PDF, please be my guest. I will say, unless you have Adobe PDF Pro or X or any sort of licensed Adobe software, you're not going to be able to actually do much with the document after you convert it to PDF. But we'll also go through why you would want those some of those additional things they offer for you, as well as when you'd really want to use them. So you can determine for yourself whether or not you want some additional features of Adobe once you watch a little bit more. But I digress. If you have Microsoft Word or Office, any sort of Microsoft document can convert into PDF when you save it. But the reason you would do that is just to make it less editable. For instance, we use it for our direct deposit forms. We have a fillable form that we can fill out with each broker and agency, and that way they can't edit the base document. For instance, I can delete the BNR in broker, currently in Word. And if you just sent any person a Word document that was unsecured, they could do that as well. Or they could take a secured Word document, save it by copying and pasting into a new document, and then edit it and send it back. So it's not really great if you're trying to get exact contract wordings nailed down with someone. In order to convert into PDF, you click File, and then in most versions of the Microsoft Office suite, they have right under Save As, this Save As PDF option. It's Save As Adobe PDF, and if you click on that, it'll say Adobe PDF Maker needs to save the file before continuing. You would click yes, and then you would be able to save the file wherever you need it using this file save window. However, I think that's also a function of me having Adobe X. If you don't have that, you still can save things as PDFs, don't worry. You just hit Save, File, Save As, and then in the Save As type, you click on the drop down and select PDF, which is what I have highlighted right now. Then you would click Save, and it will save your document as a PDF and open it in whatever PDF document viewer you have installed. A lot of computers natively have some sort of PDF viewer installed. Some like to treat them as pictures initially if you don't have any sort of Adobe software with which to view them. I am using Adobe X, so this layout might look a little bit different than what you're looking at. But overall, PDFs have a few general similarities when you open them up and save them. The first is that everything on the PDF, now that it's converted, is just considered a picture. Unless I physically click and start typing, as you can see, I can't really delete any of the words. The marks that I'm making there are from literally clicking on a line that it recognizes as text and trying to backspace through it. But that didn't quite work out. So it's a way of making these forms really uneditable, like I said. That's sort of the main reason you'd want to use PDF. Another reason might just be for security. When you're sharing a PDF document online, it's a little bit more secure than just sending a Word document. I believe it is a common file type, but they add a little bit more encryption to their documents, so it's a little bit more secure. In addition to just doing that and converting into PDF, you also gain access to a few other tools just with the basic Adobe suite. The first is the ability to make comments, and that tool looks like a little chat bubble. It says add sticky note Control+6. If you are using just a normal type of PDF viewer, you should still have access to this. You do it by clicking on the icon or on the comment section of whatever you're using to view PDFs, and then clicking where you want the comment to show up. A little icon like this will appear, or it'll just be a little yellow icon, depending on what you're using. And then you can type out whatever sort of annotation you'd like to type in. Things like change this to agent name, just as an example. And then when I click off of the note, it disappears. If I click on the comment tool of Adobe X and go to comments list, and most of these types of Adobe editors have this, even the basic ones, then I can click on the note and I can see the list. When I click on it in the toolbar, it highlights the icon. When I click on the icon, it'll actually highlight it on the document and in our toolbar as well, as you can see by that one going yellow. If I wanted to delete it, I would select one on the toolbar and just hit delete. And that's how I would delete a comment. Then I can save the document with its comments by clicking on that save icon there. Another thing that I can do as a base level edit is I can highlight sections. For example, that broker agency name. If I wanted it to stand out before the comment, I would click on that little marker toolbar, or I would go under Tools, and then I could click through here to look for the highlighter button. Normally it's available under there in the toolbar, up here, up above, or if you go to File, I believe it's Edit, Search, Window, or View, Tools. And then you can look through your tools options here that are not available up above in the toolbar. Additionally, and this is kind of where we break from what's available for PDFs, that is not premium, by the way. You can also convert documents from PDF back into their source formats. And this is something that you can only do with specialized software or with Adobe X. You'll go to File, Save As, and then you have these other options down here. Image is the one that's easiest to convert to from PDF, just because it's a very similar file type. You could convert it to Microsoft Word, a spreadsheet, or any of these other additional options. A lot of common uses of X are to export documents into a HTML or XML formats, which are for web pages. You could also convert it into a rich text format, which is an RTF file, and those are openable by Microsoft Word, Publisher, and any of those sort of Word documents. But just to show you why it's a little limited, I'm going to go ahead and convert this to a Word document. We're going to call this form sample and hit save. Then it'll process the file for export. And then I have to go back into my files and open it. There we go. As you can see, when it exports from PDF, it keeps the comments and keeps the highlights. But here's the real problem with it. If I try to unhighlight this, it won't undo the mark. It exports it as highlighted from PDF. So if you're using this feature, that's something to be aware of. Additionally, the comments themselves are actually image files. If I were to click on that comment and hit delete, you have to click on it right on the border there and hit delete. I can delete the comment, but it deletes it as an image. In order to get very specific with this image, I have to double click it and then hit delete. And it actually merged it with that line too. So we're gonna have to undo it and try to just select that. But I don't think it's possible because of the way it was placed. If I had placed that image icon slightly above the line, it might not have merged into one solid image. But that's sort of the limit of reverting back into Word or another editable text document format from a fillable PDF. However, on the PDF, I can just click the field section and hit delete to get rid of the comment and to get rid of the highlight. The last thing we can really do to make a PDF useful once we have it converted over is to make it a fillable form. What this does is it points out what fields on your document you want the user to fill out and what fields that are optional to fill out as well. In order to do that, I would go into Tools, and then I would go into, I believe it is Forms, and then hit Create. Then I have the option to use this current document or scan a new paper document to convert into a fillable form. We're going to use the current one, and I do that just by making sure that top button is clicked and selected. Then you get another option. You can choose the current document to edit and convert, which we're going to do, or I can import a file from the system. This just sort of gives you the same option as before, except this is talking about additional pages on the document, not the base document itself. To summarize the first option, was to say make the first page of your fillable form. This next option adds additional pages and other documents to that form. We just left the first option selected and hit next, and then we get another little icon here. Before creating the form, the changes you made need to be saved. If you would like to save your changes and continue to create the form, click Save. Otherwise, click Cancel. And this is basically saying you have to save the document before you start to edit it. We're going to call this Fillable, and I'm going to hit Save. And then it automatically detects areas of the document that it thinks you might want to have as a fillable form. As you can see, we've got text boxes. We've got a special one on signature, which I will get to in a moment. We also have the title box, the name box. It just filled in the name of the box with whatever text it found nearby that it thought fit. We can also edit the names of these boxes by double-clicking on them, going to Name, and then adding things into their name section under General. You can also edit the appearance of the boxes here. You can change the border colors and the fill colors of the boxes as they would be available to whoever downloaded or opened this form after you. You can also get into options and align the names and the boxes themselves with respect to where they are. Under Actions, you can select a trigger to have the box execute an action. This basically means you can turn the boxes into like validation drop-down boxes if you so choose. You can even format the boxes as numbers, percentages, times, special formats, and then you can get into validation, which is something a little more advanced that we'll save for later if you have any questions on it. Lastly, you can make a box calculable. What that means is you can actually have these boxes auto-calculate amounts. So if you start typing in sums into specific boxes, you could create another fillable form that adds those values together. For example, if you're trying to add a total to 100% and double check it, you could use it using these. You would click Pick, and then just select a box with the number that you'd want to validate and hit OK. The next thing that we're really going to mess with, though, is making a box required. And I'm going to hit Close on it after that. As you can see, nothing's really changed. We did have the email box selected as the box we were editing, but if I click off of there, now that box is red. What that means is that it will not allow someone to, well, it still will allow someone to save the document, but it makes those required boxes pop a bit more. It basically makes the reader know that they have to fill out that box before they return the form. I'm going to do that to all the other boxes for the upper portion just by double-clicking on them and then clicking Required, and then hit Close. And then I'm also going to do that to this signature box as well. And the first date box. So, as we can see, if we look at this form, we have a basic name for the company or agency, an operating name, some business address information they don't need to fill out, and then all of the contact info for the agency up above. But as you can see, if I click on them now, I can't really edit them. In order to go back in and view the form as I need to, and to exit this mode, I have to actually save the document. And we're going to save it over the fillable form there. And then we need to exit this mode for form editing. I can hit Close Form Editing and then save it again if it gives you the option, or you could just go to File, Save As, PDF, and save again that way. I just like to do that to make sure everything is saved. If this icon is ever grayed, that means that there have been no changes to the document made and you don't have to save it. But as you can see, the boxes that I set up as required now have a red border. That red border there just shows me that I have to fill that section out before I turn the form back in, if I were filling out the form. Then I can actually start typing in any of these boxes. For instance, for agency name, let's just say it's Tech Tuesday. And just fill in some random information here, just so it knows that we have to fill it out. The date is today's date, 3/26/20. And then I have to add a signature. Now, you'll notice that when I clicked on the signature box, and we already had that set up, but I will go back into how to enable a signature box. All I did was click on it, and this signed document section popped up. That's what happens after you make a box of signature form. PDFs also allow you access to secure signatures, so secure digital signatures if you have a more advanced version than just a viewer. What this does is it digitally validates that you are the one who signed this document. Each of these signatures are locked by password, and you can actually add these in throughout this option as well. If you don't have one, but you're following along and would like to create one, all you have to do is hit New ID from the Sign As dropdown. Then I'm going to create a new digital ID right now, just to show you how to make one. Natively, I would choose this PKCS number 12 digital ID. That'll make it so you have a PDF signable option. You could also get one certified from the Windows Store as well, if you're interested in that option. Then you type the name of the signature. For this one, we're going to sign as Tech Tuesday. The unit, which is Tech Ed. And our email address. We're going to use the General Commissions email box address, which is commissions@crnstone.com. And you can reach out there if you ever have any commission questions as well. Then you have possible Unicode support, or you can use your key algorithm. You have two options here, a 1024-bit RSA and a 2048-bit RSA. Personally, I actually don't know enough about the key algorithms to tell you the difference, but if you have any questions on that, I will be glad to research and get back to you. Then you can also select the use for the digital ID, which we're going to use for digital signatures and data encryption as a base, but for this one, we're just going to do digital signatures and hit next. Then it'll tell you where you're going to save your digital signature, and typically it'll be underneath the Adobe Acrobat folder, as you can see by this section of the folder directory. It's under my user data for Adobe Acrobat. And then I assign a password. It will not actually let you finish unless you assign a password. So we're going to assign this password as just Tech Tuesday. And then hit finish. In order to actually sign, I have to enter the digital ID we just made up there in the password box. And then you get this option down here to lock the document after you sign it. This means that anyone else who goes into this document won't be able to fill anything out once you sign it, if you select that option. Then I'm going to hit sign. If you want to keep a base version that you can edit, I'd highly recommend renaming your save file at this point, once you sign your document, just in case you accidentally clicked the lock option. But once you sign it, it fills in the signature right here. If you click on it, I can tell that I signed it is a valid signature. And if I get into signature properties, I can get into the properties of the signature if I wanted to validate it further. But that generally covers what you would want to use PDFs for, how you would make them, how you would save them, and how you would sign one or make certain fields required. As you can see here, because I left this email required box blank, even though you make a field required, that does not mean that someone's going to fill it out when they send it back to you. All that means is that you have a field that you're letting them know they should fill out because it's surrounded in red. But if you have any questions about PDFs or any other use questions in general from any of our last Tech Tuesdays, now would be the time. I am going to be here at least for the next 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Coming up, just so you know, we have the Build Your Brand Design and Branding section for 101. Just Larkin will be teaching that at 9:30 a.m. on the 31st. And we also have our upcoming Tech Tuesday, Just Google It, and frequently asked questions. We'll be answering just about any question you've got with relation to computers, as well as any question you might have about Google versus Bing, any other sort of search system question you might have. So stay tuned for that coming up next Tech Tuesday scheduled time. Thank you.